Hello and happy Thriving Thursday. Yes, Thursday is Thriving Thursday. And I want to talk about today what it means to thrive. And to thrive, that means to prosper, to flourish, to grow vigorously. So that's such a great thing to be able to flourish and to grow. But how many know that sometimes we have to strive until we can thrive? So, to strive, the definition of striving is to make great efforts to achieve or obtain something. So, that sounds good to make great efforts, right? We always should put forth our greatest effort to get something done, to achieve whatever we set out to do. Struggle or fight vigorously. We don't really like the struggle, and I understand because the struggle is not fun. It's not a great thing to have to struggle and have to fight through and even fight vigorously, even though we're giving our all. So I've heard a lot of people say, I don't want to hear about striving. I want to thrive. And that's right. But we're not in a perfect world. In a perfect world, we thrive all the time. Everything goes well. But when you're not in a perfect world, sometimes you have to strive until you can thrive. Sometimes you have to make that extra effort in everything you do, and it doesn't feel good. It's like, why did I get here? How did I get here? Why did this happen to me? And I will be the first to say, I've been in those situations where I said, why me? Why do I have to fight all the time to get what I felt like I deserved? Right? But sometimes when you don't fight, you never experience the win. So I want to talk about striving and encourage everybody to keep striving. In the midst of it all, when you're on your way to your thrive season, keep striving no matter what, no matter who, no matter how, because we have to sometimes strive before we can thrive. So a lot of times when we talk about striving, and thriving, we have to have some things in motion and a plan sometime to go from our strive season to our thrive season. So the first thing we have to do is we have to set a goal. We have to we have to have an aspiration or a goal or aim toward some type of expected end. And then we have to have an expectation to get there. So let's talk about when you want to get a new job. The first thing you do need to do is, I feel like you need to try to perfect your craft on your present job. Because sometimes we want to jump and move to the next thing, but we haven't perfected where we are. So let's start to cross our T's and dot our I's where we currently are. Let's be on time. Let's be ahead of time. Let's make sure we turn our information in. If we're taking calls, let's make sure we're providing the service that we've been expected to provide and make sure that we're doing it with a spirit of excellence, not just here today just to get through the day, giving my pay. Okay? I've been there too, where yes, I did arrive, but I didn't give that 150% that Martina is supposed to give. So that's my spirit of excellence. So when you're in the midst of your in between season, we need to make sure that we're doing our best in our current capacity. So I'm going to be the best lawyer I can be, the best doctor I can be, the best social worker I can be, the best custodian I can be, the best dishwasher I can be, whatever I am doing right at that moment. I want to do my best. First of all, I want to let the Lord know that I'm worthy of Him blessing me. Because a lot of times, if you won't do anything with what you have now, how can you expect to go somewhere further, right? So we know what striving means, to make that extra effort. And we know what it is to thrive, to prosper. So we're on our way to thriving. So in the midst of our strive, we also have to make sure that we do the right thing in the midst of the strive. Do the right thing by people. We can't expect to move forward when we're not treating our coworkers right. We're not treating the customers right. We're not treating our families right. We need to make sure that we line up with what we want. So if you're in a situation that you want to better and to get out of, let's do our best where we are and let's make steps to get to where we want to be. If it's more education, let's get it. If it's more digging deeper, trying to find out, doing research, if it's just applying and making sure we tidy up our resume, whatever it is, we have to be willing to follow through so we can get to. So, also, when you're in the middle of a striving season, you want to make sure that you are equipped to be able to go into that next season, equipped to be able to handle that next workload. So if there's something that you have to sharpen your tools at, let's go ahead and do it. But first of all, we got to get our mind right. We got to, first of all, set an expectation and actually have the expectation that we're going to achieve. We have to speak it, we have to believe it, we got to work it, and then we can achieve it. So in the midst of our strive, that's when we're speaking it. That's when we're believing it. And then we do the footwork. That's when we're working it. That's when we're preparing and making sure that we have what we need to get to our next season. And we all have that ability. I don't care what has happened. I had to start my whole life over at the age of, I think, 41. Wasn't easy, y'all. It was not easy. I went from the first house that I bought. I was married at the time, so I bought it with my husband at the time. I was 20 years old. That was a blessing. God was with us. We worked hard. And yes, we were blessed with the opportunity to buy a house at that young age. We built the second house. I was 22. And it was it was great to be able to have that achievement. But then I found myself at 41 having to start my life over. Then I had to rent. It's hard to start renting when you've owned a house since you were 20 years old. But guess what? We do what we got to do to get to the next step. So I humbled myself, rented my property. I rented what I could afford at the time. And now I'm where I want to be and I live where I want to live. So we have to go through some things. And it took some time for me to get there. I didn't get there overnight, but I was determined that even though, and I had people, even in my family, tell me how stupid I was. Oh, you should have did this. You should have took that. You should have asked for this. You did 22 years in that marriage and you could have got anything you wanted. But I know I serve a God that would pick me up and put me where I wanted to be. So yes, I started at the bottom. But that's okay because now I'm here. So I said all that to say we strive until we can thrive. So thriving is about working on your self development, personal growth, and resilience. Yes, we talked about tidying up your resume. If you need more education, but also resilience, that follow through, that no matter what, I hit the brick wall. I turn around. I get my speed back up. Sometimes the brick wall, you can't climb it because it's slick. Sometimes the brick wall, you can't go all the way around it because there's brick walls for miles down the road. But guess what? Sometimes we have to knock that sucker down. And I had to knock down some brick walls, some opposition that was in front of me, that was trying to hinder me. But I made it. And you can make it no matter what you want to do. You stay in the game no matter what. When you're playing football and you're running that ball, you protect that ball. You don't let anybody take it away from you. You don't fumble the ball. When you're playing basketball, you're dribbling that ball. You protect your dribble and you don't let anybody swat that ball away. So we stay in the game and in the end, we will get the fame. So, and it's not about fame because what we do, it gives God glory when we do it in Him. So when I raise my hands and I say, thank you, Lord, I mean that from the bottom of my heart because I know that I would not be where I am right now without Him. There's no way. There's no question. There's no question. He opens doors that no man can close, and he shuts some doors that I didn't need to walk in. And I thank him for it every day. So, a huge part of becoming more resilient is learning to become more adaptable. Sometimes we have to learn how to shift. When one way is not working, let's shift to the next way. Sometimes we have to adapt to change. Change is not fun sometimes, but I had to change a lot of things about how I did, how I moved. I was always able to conduct and take care of, handle business. I'm thankful for that because my mom and dad taught me a lot to prepare me for life. And then life taught me a lot. Raising a family, I learned how to take care of business. So when we learn how to do that, sometimes we have a challenge that's a little different. So we shift, we adapt, and we don't. Sometimes you just don't buck the system. Sometimes the system is set up to help you get from glory to glory to glory, from level to level to level. So let's adapt. Let's shift into that next gear. And trust me, if you just have a car with one gear, you can't go nowhere. So we have to have those extra gears to get us to where we need to be, where we want to be, where we belong. So we shift and we get ready for the next step of our lives. So we have to have adaptability. So now we're not just striving, but we're on our way to thriving. And the last thing is when we're adaptable, that's able to adjust to new conditions. That's that shiftability. That means that this is where I need to be. I did Medicare. I was a sales coach. I was on one job, I was like a sales manager. On one position, I was considered a developmental specialist where I got agents ready for the phone. But I knew all of that was preparing me to be on my own because guess what? You know, I'm thankful for the experiences because it taught me and it prepared me. But I knew that I needed to be out here doing what God commissioned me to do. So I commend all of you for all the efforts you have put forth, but I compel all of you to strive until you can thrive. Don't give up the strive. If you can just get out there and thrive, keep thriving. But don't make those people feel bad. They got to strive a little bit. I did, but I got where I needed to be, and I'm on my way to higher heights and deeper depths in Him. So let's strive until we can thrive. This is Thriving Thursday. Let's get it. Have a great day.